On this episode of The Gatekeeper, Keith, it's about the phrase, so you want to be a rock and roll star. Well, this guy knows a thing or two about it. You know, his name, though, may not be a household word, but the bands that he produced, bands that he actually signed as an A&R guy, legendary. You want to know who they are? Cheap Trick, REO Speedwagon, and our guys that we're going to talk to him about today, Molly Hatchet. Tom Werman, it's a pleasure, my friend. How are you doing today?
I'm well. How are you?
Well, I am fine. Keith is here, but before we begin, Tom, I'm just going to sit back and watch the fireworks go because Mr. Johnson has a bone to pick with you. Go ahead there, buddy.
I got your book, okay? And I've been reading it. I got to the part of Molly Hatchet, which is chapter 14, on page 121, three-quarters of the way down. And I quote, "The head Rudy was a skinny fellow with big ears." That's right, big ears. He was personable and a little bit odd-looking. Odd-looking? Come on, look at Dave Lubeck. He doesn't even have a tooth. And the band dubbed him Jughead or Juggy.
You know, I remember I always wondered why they called you Jughead, and I figured that it was about your ears and the fact that jugs had two handles like that. I enjoyed your professional side, and I didn't know anything beyond that really. But I enjoyed working with these guys, with all of you.
Tom, I'm going to begin by talking about the book. The book is entitled Turn It Up. It is a fantastic book. It's available right now on Amazon. It's available, I believe, at Barnes & Noble. I mean, you can buy it anywhere. The book is fabulous because it's a quick read. It's an easy read, but it's very informative. It shows and it takes basically people who don't know the music industry throughout the entire chronological order of it. But my question to you would be is, why did you wait so long? Why the book? Why now?
Well, mainly because the interest in classic rock grew among the population and among different ages to the point where I said, you know, this is a finite era. It's over. Everyone is asking about it. I did podcasts, one of which got over 100,000 hits. And I said, you know, there's an audience out there. There are whole families that listen to music from the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Okay, take us back to when you were a child in Boston. What were your idols back then?
Oh, Bo Diddley mainly. You know, I liked fretted instruments, and I found a guitar in my aunt's attic, and I taught myself how to play the guitar. The Beatles at Carnegie Hall was the first show I ever saw. It was the first concert I ever attended, and I saw the Stones right after that. $5 I paid. It was great. Anyway, I was inspired. And I had a job that I hated. So in desperation, I wrote a letter to Clive Davis, and I went from hell to heaven overnight.
Now, when you went to Epic, or you ended up at Epic, which is a subsidiary of Columbia, and the first job that you had was you were an A&R guy. Now, for people that not know what an A&R guy does, just briefly, fill us in on that.
A&R stands for Artists and Repertoire, and the A&R guy's main job was to find songs for the artists that he was assigned. Then, when the singer-songwriters started to happen, A&R people really moved into the talent scouting area, and they would find acts and then kind of supervise their creative process.
A&R, though, your claim to fame is the last act that you bring to the label, obviously. And there's a lot of hits, there's a lot of misses. Tell us the first act that you signed for the label.
That was REO Speedwagon in 1970, a couple of months after I started at Epic. And, you know, over the next 4 years, I did bring Kiss, Leonard Skinner, and Rush to the label, but they passed. And by the
What?
time
What? Wait a minute. Wait. One more time. You brought who to the record label?
Kiss, Rush, and Leonard Skinner. And my boss passed on all of them. He was a great guy, bright guy, great musical taste, but did not have that passion for rock and roll. And I was trying to introduce Epic to rock and roll. And by the time those bands became huge, the label figured out that I might know something that they don't.
In the next episode of The Gatekeeper, as we talk to Tom Werman, he tells us who he signs. Ted Nugent? Could it be Cheap Trick? Twisted Sister? So all I can say is stand by from Studio 1J in beautiful St. Augustine, Florida, for the next episode of The Gatekeeper.
All right.